Okay. Now this is to talk about the curved line balls. I received a communication talking about my curved line balls and promising me a further explanation that I could give to scientists who were interested in this. Because the curved line balls were something important about the bonding of energy into the different stages it goes through before it becomes matter. And that this was an intelligence I'm looking at. And I will show you these little things that look like little X's, kind of look like little bats here. Well, here's a good example of them. They turn into a curved line ball, two of them facing each other, but not quite touching. Sometimes they do seem to mingle and touch, but often I get them where they just look like they're very, very close to each other. And they're balls that are made out of curved lines. So I have named them curved line balls. Here's another picture of several of them in this orb. And they're part of this process. Now, I haven't been able to get any scientist to look at my pictures and take them serious. I really wish they would. Because this is what light looks like when I look at it. You see all the little circles, and I've seen websites where they show the picture of an atom as a circle with a concentric circle around it. So, am I looking at atoms? Am I looking at something possibly so small that it's like the Planck size? I don't know. It's a simple means I've used, not one as big as some devices that are out there now that film the tiny, tiny things. But don't let that deceive you, because it doesn't have to be hard and complicated. I'm a person that's always wanted everything to be fun and easy and free. And this is pretty much free. I'm free to look at this anytime I wish. Now, this is the curved line balls beginning. And when I first started noticing these, it was when I had put some of my own saliva onto the piece of glass I'm filming. And I noticed these large black holes would appear and then evaporate, but in their leaving a trail behind, it made this little X-looking thing. And as I noticed, the X little thing also was evolving, and it turned into the curved line balls, as you see this one beginning to form here. And then it multiplied itself. And there would be an orb full of curved line balls. And these are very colorful ones here. At first they weren't quite as colorful, but now they're beginning to be very colorful. And I see them so often in the orbs. Now see, this one is filled with them. The orb is really like a little microscopic lens that moves over a landscape of this stuff. And this landscape is on a plane of which it could be several planes, because sometimes when I have several shiny spots that make orbs, each one has a different kind of background that shows that this is not the same landscape from one orb to another. It's a different one. Many, many planes of light. And when I'm seeing this, I also see that there's many layers. There are things moving in these pictures on different layers. Now, I see that best because I'm seeing it in real time, and I'm not real good with my videos to show that so well. And then I got this black hole one time. Actually, I can see some of what I'm showing you in pictures with the naked eye. But I could never convince anyone that it was anything important, because I didn't try real hard, but I just tried with my family, and well, if they don't see it, they don't get it. But now that I can take pictures of it, they still aren't interested. And I'm having a hard time finding anyone interested enough that they want to really delve into this with me. But I used to see a big orb. I still see a big orb form when I look at light directly and squint my eyes so that all the light doesn't come into my eye all at once, but just a tiny portion. And it kind of blossoms up satellite-like into a orb that has all of these little kinds of things moving in and out of it. I see this with the naked eye, just looking at light, and my camera sees it. And my camera sees things that my eye can't see, and it freeze frames it, and so it's so much better to get it with a camera. But I do see a lot of color and a lot of these circles and tubes and everything I see with the naked eye. When I used to see a black hole, I would see it with my left eye. And then one day, I observed it almost every day. I'd look at the light, and the black hole was there, just like this one is. And then one day, it began to have a little whitish look to it, and then it looked sort of like that yin-yang little balls that go round and round. And then the edges of the circle began to have color in them. And then one day, it just disappeared altogether. It was no longer there. It became colorful. It had that little thing that was twisting about in the middle, kind of whitish. And then it was just gone. So I don't know what this is, but I just know it's unusual. And there has to be some explanation for it. There's more of the curved line balls, but you see other colors come into the orb. Like this yellow and green and red is on another level, and it travels over some of this stuff that's under it. More of the curved line balls and more, and see how they just sort of fall out of one orb into the next, because actually this is a moving landscape and the orb is just moving over it, sort of highlighting special parts of it for me to see. And see, the colors can change. This is a lot of those. I can see in it the little balls because I've trained my eyes to see those little curved line balls. And all three of these orbs are just full of that, but they've become mangled together and merged together and distorted because they're becoming something, I think. Here's another picture of them. And you can see the curved line balls real well in that. See how they almost touch there? There they are. I keep looking for them and I keep finding them. And I did get that communication. It was very unusual. I was looking through my Google Drive at some documents I had made, and one I just titled The Power of Love had a message in it to me from I do not know who, but Spirit, I would say, from Spirit. And it talked about my curved line balls. I will put that video that I talk of that in the description bar in case you want to listen to that. I'm really wanting these people that are scientists who work at this place called Quantum Gravity Research. Well, that's the name of their website. And they're always talking about things that go way beyond me, and I don't understand much of it, but some parts that I do show me that they're looking at and for the real reality that we actually live in, that may be a matrix, that may be like computer generated in a way. Not that that's how it is, but that's just the best explanation that we could give you to date, because we couldn't even give you that a few years ago when we didn't have the computer as a comparison. But I'm thinking our universe is like a being of consciousness who we could best understand that being of consciousness by thinking of how information works in computers. And that's hard to grasp, But this is important because this consciousness can access the past and the future and can change reality. Now, I know this is happening because I'm looking into that Mandela effect that so many people talk about, the Mandela effect, and there's a lot of controversy concerning it. But our reality is actually having alterations to things that people remember as being one way, and then suddenly they realize the history of that thing when they look it up, because we have this wonderful computer to look up the past information on things such as products and logos and movies and things. They're finding out that their memories don't serve them right anymore because the things they remembered one way are now another way. Complete different facts, complete different sentences. And while it doesn't interest some, it interests me a lot because I think, wow, there's a powerfulness in this world that can go in our past and change the very words in our Bibles. It's been changed in the King James Version a lot. Some of the words are not even the same. A good example would be the scripture in Isaiah about the lion and the lamb shall lay together. Only now it's the wolf and the lamb. So that was a big change. And it's only one of many, many, many changes have happened. I used to read the Bible a lot, so I'm familiar with the verses and how they went. And while I still don't, to this day, take it literally, or I do value some of the things that are in the Bible as being given us an understanding of a sorts, but I don't take it literally like so many people I know do. And the people who take it literally aren't liking that the words are changing. They think it's something like that a devil or something like that could do, maybe if God allowed it, and maybe God is allowing it. So they have doom and gloom thoughts about what it is, while on the other hand, I have great promise and hope that, wow, if the past can change words in a book, what is our reality really all about? Maybe we need to take another look at reality. Now, they do that. They're at this website, at this YouTube channel that I found called, they have several. It's called Quantum Gravity Research. They talk about scientific clues that we are living in a matrix. And they're looking into the reality code. And so they use a lot of words that I don't understand. They understand a lot more than I do. But I don't think they have the visuals that I have. Now look at this. These are those curved line balls where 3 of them come together, not 4, but 3, and it makes a little tetrahedron shape there in the middle, a little triangle. And all these colors that are in the orbs, and these, lately, the curved line balls are being way more colorful. And that's to say nothing of all these circles with concentric circles around them that are entangled with other circles with concentric circles around them. And some have a dark center, some have a lighter center. There's just so many things that are in these orbs that would bring up questions about what is this. And I love taking pictures of them because they're so beautiful. I get such gorgeous colors, and I even think that I'm seeing the hydrogen atom sometime. I'm going to go back to my library. I'm going to show you something if I can find it. I have thousands and thousands of pictures. Lately, I've been having this, what I call the patch. It moves over the orb that I'm looking at, and it's just a big blob of color. It has a little tiny circle above it right here. You see that? And it moves into my view as I'm looking at an orb, and here comes that circle. I mean, not circle, here comes that patch. Now, why I think it's on different levels is because of these pictures. I think it was on the same level as this thing that is yellow here, because it seemed to have bumped into it and it pushed into the body of this little patch thing. Then it pushed in even more, see? And that's the patch. But the patch remains the same. It, continues even if it's punctured. But its colors change all the time. Like if I get far away from the light source, so that I'm not getting as much light in view, then it turns really dark. And it just moves about. See, there you can see the whole thing there in that one little one there. Now, okay, I want to show you this. These are the orbital waves of the hydrogen atom. Hydrogen atom, I guess it's atom. But I get this sort of thing in my orb pictures, and they are many colors. They even show it here. They had an animation of it that showed that it has many colors to it. So do mine. See, here's one of mine. That's just one. But I get it several times. There's another one. Here's one. And this is also something I get in my pictures. This is called self-propelling of the subatomic particle, how that it moves itself about, self-propels. I think I'm looking at subatomic particles because I get this little woven look. And sometimes, let me go back to my library and see exactly where I have that. Sometimes I can get that exact pattern that I saw in that picture. And it's something inside an orb, like this one. See how it interweaves? I mean, mine's going 2 directions, not just one. Well, maybe it's going 4 directions. But the photon is showing it like it's on a weaver's loom. And it just is traveling that way. Sometimes things get in the orb, or they're over it, that look like dark strands of something, like this picture here. And you can see dimension. And this orb twisted at one end, and all the colors, man, it turned into like a peacock's feather. And sometimes they do this little whirl about thing. The orb can just make itself into a big, long piece of tape that looks like a ribbon that just folds in on itself. Sometimes it looks like a shell. It just looks so many different ways and has so many things in it that it can't all be just some little thing that light does that everybody is aware of. I don't think people are aware of this. I've gotten so many different views inside the orb. I call it orb. Sometimes I call it a photon of light. And see, these look like the little hydrogen atom orbitals, and see how they kind of go one from another, how they're doing in this one. And there they are in this one. And here. Now, I was going to show you pixelation. I do have an example of that. Okay, wait a minute. I see it. But here's an actual picture of the hydrogen atom. It looks like a circle, like so many things you've been seeing in the atoms that I've showed you. I mean, in the pictures that I've showed you. Now, when the light comes out of the light source, it makes all those pink things. They're always in, when you take a picture of light, you get those little pink things. But see the little orb that you only see part of? And you see the violet in this background? Now look at this. This is a close-up of that background that's violet. It's matted looking. And this hardly ever happens when I take pictures of orbs. But when it does happen, it's always in the violet color. That's a zoomed in view. It had a streak of light right through the center that you can see there. Looks like a woven rug or something. So I do think I'm onto something. I'm not sure what. I do know the colors run. Here's a good example of the colors running. Oh, I put Spiral Blue's name in that one. Let me go back and find one that's different. That's a friend of mine on YouTube that comments on my pictures, on my videos. I wanted to show you this little succession. When I see the light come out, I caught it in different phases where it's tube-like and moving and duplicating itself and making the ribbon and showing things that are in it that are of color. See, that one has a lot of color in it. And like I said, and there's in this one also, you can see right here, the pixelation in the violet part, right up here to the right. And you can see how it acts often like snake-like, like it moves and it enters into its own self. When it makes a circle, it's like the snake that bites its own tail. I've seen light do that. I see it do so many things. It makes a second orb. Oh, there's some pixelation in this one too, right here. I'll bring it up close so you can see it. Right in here. There's where it looks like it's a snake that eats its own tail, because it goes in and out of itself. And when the light comes out, it's kind of the shape of a teardrop in a way. It's not just perfectly round. It's this oval, smaller at one end and bigger at the other. Teardrop shape. I've taken thousands of pictures of this. It leaves a little luminous trail behind it too. Well, this one has a lot of pixelation in it, you see. When it first comes out of the light source, which is over here on the right, it's like it's all wrinkled up like a little newborn baby, all wrinkled. The wrinkles hadn't come out of it yet. And there's a lot of pixelation in this one. You can see it very easily. And when it comes out, there will be dark light that comes out within it, where it even hides the view of it altogether because it's so black. Well, sometimes one half of the orb will be dark, or it'll be a dark streak right down the middle. Wait a minute, let me see what I wrote into that one. Your feelings have electromagnetic realities that rise outward, affecting the atmosphere itself. They group through attraction, building up areas of events and circumstances that finally coalesce, so to speak, either in matter as objects or as events in time. Dang, where did I get that from? I can't remember what book I read that in. Your feelings have electromagnetic realities that rise outward, affecting the atmosphere itself. They group through attraction, building up areas of events and circumstances that finally coalesce, so to speak, either in matter as objects or as events in time. Wow. I do not remember what book I read that one in, or if I ever even did. Because, see, the way that this communication came to me in my Google Drive, I spoke of that, I think I spoke of that earlier in this video. but a message came to me that wasn't one I wrote in a document I had made and just entitled but not put any content into. And it was what was talking about the curved line balls, and it promised to give me a more thorough understanding of the curved line balls and what this means that would meet the requirements that a scientist would want. And I'm thinking, well, when that does come, what scientist am I going to send this to? And my answer is I'm going to send it to these people here at this, they don't know me yet, but I hope they will. These people at this quantum, what do they call it? The quantum gravity research. Because they're looking into this sort of thing. And I've read enough metaphysical books that especially Walter Russell said one day our science would not disagree with spirituality. The two would fit together like a glove. That, they would be one and the same. Because when science is properly understood, then you understand consciousness. And when we understand consciousness, we can fix everything that's wrong in our world. Maybe this just came on there. Maybe I didn't put that in there. I don't recall putting this in this about our feelings, having electromagnetic realities. Wow. Well, I'm going to end on this and think about this and make another video later. And this is the Dove Lady over and out for now.